The idea of paying reparations or making other amends for slavery and discrimination has had a very long history. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then don't forget to tap on the subscribe button because you will find my videos intriguing. Give this video a thumbs up by simply tapping on the like button and sharing your thoughts on what you think about this video at the end. Now, in today's video, we talk about something that has been talked about, or rather something that's been the most talked about topic multiple times: reparations. California lawmakers introduced First Nation slavery reparations package, including a proposal to restore property taken by race-based cases of eminent domain and a potentially unconstitutional measure to provide state funding for specific groups. Now, the question is, do these reparations have conditions? We don't know as of yet, but if you want to know, then stick around and watch this video till the very end. For now, check out this video of a brother explaining what this is all about. See you after this video.
So guess what, you all? California lawmakers introduced First Nations reparations package. Yay! Y'all ready to start dancing in the streets and moving to California? Hold up just a minute. Before we talk about what California has done and slapped some black faces on it during an election year and called it a reparations package, let's take a moment to look at what full reparations even means, because I'm convinced most people have no clue. First, we're going to start with secession assurances and guarantees of non-repetition. And that basically involves that first you must cease the activity that led to the necessity for reparations, and you must offer assurances that said activities will never occur again. And then we move on to restitution and repatriation. Restitution, of course, is to establish the situation which existed prior to the wrongful act that required reparations to be part of the discussion in the first place. And that is going to mean a change or reversing of laws. Acts that were wrongful that led to this situation, we must restore freedom, humanity, identity, culture, livelihood, citizenships, and legal standing. And we must address wealth to the extent that it can be before we move on to number 3. Now, this is the only part most people think of when you talk about restitution. But compensation does not complete restitution. Compensation is just the monetary requirement for an assessment of the damages caused to those who have suffered under the system that must be financially compensated for those damages. And then we get to satisfaction. Satisfaction is basically an apology to the injured party from the party that did the injuring. Satisfaction is about emotional and mental damage caused, and secession and restitution and compensation does not completely address. This is where an apology falls in, something this country has never engaged in its entire history. And closing out the 5 points is rehabilitation. Rehabilitation should be provided that includes legal, medical, psychological, and other care services for the generational trauma associated with the act. Now, with that in mind, in the words of my friend Comic Detective, let's investigate. So let's get to the first line here. However, the proposed measure doesn't include any financial compensation to direct descendants of black slaves. Investigation over. Welcome to Black History Month. And you need to strap in if you're going to be following me this month, because I'm going to be calling out like this all month long. Let's get it.
Now, before I even comment on this, let's look at what the lawmakers are introducing. Now, the California Legislative Black Caucus, the CLBC, announced the reparations bills it plans to introduce as the first step to implement the policy proposals outlined in the report last summer by the Reparations Task Force. Now, in a press release, the caucus described the 2024 Reparations Priority Bill package as a multi-year effort to implement the legislative recommendations in the report. In introducing the 14 measures, California will become the first state to implement concrete legislative proposals to enact reparations, a movement that has been growing in recent years. Now, while many only associate direct cash payments with reparations, the true meaning of the word to repair involves much more. As laid out in the report, we need a comprehensive approach to dismantling the legacy of slavery and systemic racism, CLBC Chair Lori Wilson said in the press release. Now, this year's legislative package tackles a wide range of issues, from criminal justice, reforms to property rights, to education, civil rights, and food justice. The caucus is looking to make strides in the second half of this legislative session as we build towards righting the wrongs of Californians past in future sessions, Wilson added. Now, among the proposals is an amendment to the California Constitution to allow the state to fund programs for the purpose of increasing the life expectancy of improving educational outcomes for or lifting out of poverty specific groups. Another amendment would prohibit involuntary servitude for incarcerated persons. One measure addresses property takings, and one would allow for the restoration of property taken during race-based uses of eminent domain to its original owners, or provide another effective remedy where appropriate, such as restitution or compensation. Now, the first step in laying out the package will be a resolution that recognizes that harm and a subsequent bill that requests a formal apology by the governor and the legislature for the role that the state played in the human rights violation and crimes against humanity on African slaves and their descendants. Now, the 14 measures are categorized under primary topics: education, civil rights, criminal justice reform, health, and business. Education proposals include creating grants to increase enrollment in STEM-related CTE programs at high school and college levels. One measure also proposes career education, financial aid for redlined communities. In addition to addressing property, the civil rights proposals would include, for example, extending the Crown Act to prohibit discrimination based on certain hairstyles, explicitly in competitive sports. Criminal justice reform proposals would eliminate the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation (CDCR) practice of banning books without proper oversight, restrict solitary confinement with CDCR detention facilities, and establish grants to fund community-driven solutions to decrease violence at the family, school, and neighborhood levels. Health measures would require advance notice to community stakeholders before grocery stores shut down in underdeserved or at-risk communities, and another would make medically supportive food and nutrition interventions when deemed medically necessary. Now, the sole business proposal would eliminate barriers to those obtaining occupational licenses for people with criminal records. The California Secretary of State praised the announcement, writing, "I'm optimistic and encouraged by the work and look forward to amazing and groundbreaking outcomes. The nation is waiting for us to lead. And as California always does, we will lead in addressing a delayed justice called reparations." Assemblymember and task force member Reggie Jones said in a statement, "We will endeavor to right the wrongs committed against Black communities through laws and policies designed to restrict and alienate African Americans." Now, before some people even start celebrating, first of all, like, who's supposed to be jumping for joy over words? And just like a brother explained in the video, there are conditions. So are people really ever going to get or benefit from these reparations? I want you, my viewers, to be the stitchers of this video by simply sharing what you think in the comments about this whole thing. Thank you for watching.